Good morning. My name is John Records. I get to work as Executive Director of COTS. It's so good to see all of you here today. Welcome. As you can see, we have this very closely planned, closely packed, tightly organized. So this morning, I'm in a bit of a rush getting dressed to come here, and I grabbed a sports coat, and when I got in the car and was halfway here, I realized it was the wrong color. So, into every little life, a little rain must fall. You know, as I was preparing for this presentation and wondering what can I tell you that would be helpful and deep and true, I was thinking about this prayer for the children and what brought me to COTS. I came to COTS to volunteer with the kids. And as I think about what I've seen in the lives of the children, the kind of children whose nightmares come in the daytime, as the prayer for the children speaks, I think about how a life can be shattered at an early age, how somebody can have an experience or a series of experiences that forever impacts the way they live their lives and wind up with them being homeless as adults because of what happened to them as a kid. I know something about a shattered life of a child because my own life was shattered when I was 8. 2 days after Christmas, when I was 8 years old, I went into our living room, and there was my mother's body lying on the floor of the living room. I thought she was asleep. Later in the day, my dad sat me down and said that she had died. And I remember now, it was like a hole was torn in my life. My dad had been drinking a lot prior to that event, and looking back in hindsight now, I can see he was an alcoholic after that. He was in and out of mental hospitals as I was a teen. And I remember when I was probably 19 or so, coming to the conclusion that life on this planet was not worth living. I can see now that was rooted in my having my life torn apart when I was a kid. And of course, the homeless children we work with and a lot of the adults have had much, much worse happen than happened to me. I've never been raped or beaten, for instance. So I came to this conclusion that my life had no value. And I made a decision that has brought me forward to be here with you today, and that was that if my own life had no value to me, maybe it could be of some use to other people. And over the years, I've learned how to offer my life in service more and more, and my life has been healed by giving it up. It's come back to me. I've been made whole again through this work and the support of loving people. And that is at the core of my determination that people whose lives have been shattered in our community should have the help that they need to put their lives back together. That children should have decency and support and strength, and that their parents should be taught how not to make the same mistakes their parents made in bringing them up. Together, with support from you in this community, we've had a pretty good year. We've provided emergency shelter and housing to about 1,000 children and adults in Petaluma and Rohnert Park. This very night, we have almost enough beds through COTS system to accommodate the number of people in this room. Not quite, maybe 3/4. Close to 300. We've provided 100,000 meals to people who wouldn't have had that food otherwise. 400,000 pounds of food, in addition to the meals, delivered in the community to needy families and seniors. We don't stop with providing these basic services. We provide the transformational support that helps people to heal and to rebuild their lives. Programs like our award-winning Kid First, our Rent Right program, our Work Right program. And it works. We can even boast about some of our people going on to buy their own homes. Proud as I am of all of our accomplishments, of the lives that we save, of the lives that we transform, I never forget the people we have to turn away, the people we can't help because we don't have the resources to do that. I never forget the people we have to turn away from our family shelter because there's no room at that inn on a particular night. I never forget the people who are ready for, who desperately want help with their chemical dependency or with their mental illness, that we can't offer the deep therapeutic clinical kind of help they really need because we can't afford the trained staff to do that. It's fairly cheap to run a warehouse, but we aspire to more than that. To give you some examples of what it costs to really help people, it's about $1,000 a month for one child to provide them everything that we can that they need: shelter, licensed child care, various kinds of support. It costs us about $2,600 to put 10 people through our Kids First course so that the parents can do a better job and we can break the cycle of homelessness by supporting those parents and supporting their children. It costs us about $4,000 for 1 month of providing food to 330 people in the community, the seniors and families I mentioned earlier. It cost us about $10,000 to run our after-school program for the homeless children, for 40 of them, for a year. So it all adds up. Now you might think, sitting in this beautiful room today, that we've got it all together. We're kind of fooling you a little bit today. We're putting our best foot forward for you. We figure once a year it's good to have a party, to celebrate our community, to celebrate our work. But in fact, for some of the programs I've mentioned, we don't know where the money's coming from to run them. It's that iffy. There are grant sources that come and go, donors come and go. So given the quality of our programs, given the strength and the importance of our work, I'm comfortable telling you today that we need your help. We're demonstrably effective in what we do. I'm very proud to say that in a recent State of California evaluation, a very competitive process that involved 103 programs throughout the state, our family programs ranked 3rd in the entire state of California. They would have ranked 1st, but I think the process was flawed. We're able still to have incredibly high ratings for sobriety in our Mary Isaac Center. We did a recent all-facility test, and out of 113 people in the surprise test, 2 avoided the test. We assumed that they were positive, and one other person tested dirty, as we call it. So that's the kind of strength and power that we have in the programs. We also run very lean. We pinch a penny owls for mercy. Many of you are volunteers with COTS now. We get 50,000 volunteer hours a year from our community. That's the equivalent of about 22 or 23 full-time employees who are working for free. Saves us about $1 million. So we're doing a good job about something that's needed. We're part of your community, and we're here today to ask you for your help. Thank you so much for coming. I'm honored that you'd be here at 7:30 in the morning. Thanks again.